Most people assume the loudest person in the room holds the most power. They're confident, expressive, always talking, always visible. But here, the mistake almost everyone makes. They assume silence means safety, because the person you should really be paying attention to is usually the one saying the least. The quietest person in the room isn't weak. They're not passive, and they're rarely unaware. In fact, silence is often a sign of something most people don't recognize until it's too late. Let's talk about why. If psychology content like this helps you understand people more clearly, especially the ones who don't say much, subscribe and comment where you're watching from. Now let's break this down. Silence is not absence, it's processing. From a psychological perspective, silence is rarely empty. Quiet individuals are often high internal processors. Their attention isn't outward, it's inward. While others speak to think, they think before they speak. They're observing things most people miss. Who talks more when they're nervous? Who interrupts when they feel threatened? Who laughs a second too late? Who changes their tone when someone with authority enters the room? They're not distracted by trying to be liked. They're not performing. They're tracking patterns. Psychology shows that people who talk less often gather more accurate social information, simply because they're watching instead of broadcasting. And that alone gives them an advantage. The quietest person is often the most emotionally regulated. Here's something most people misunderstand. Loud behavior is often a way to regulate emotion externally. Talking fills discomfort. Noise reduces anxiety. Silence does the opposite. Quiet people tend to regulate internally. They don't rush to react. They don't feel tension with words. They don't reveal their emotional position easily. And that makes them unpredictable. In psychology, unpredictability creates power. When people can't read you, they can't anticipate you, and they can't control you. Silence creates asymmetry. Social dynamics are built on information exchange. The person who speaks reveals what they value, what they fear, where they stand. The quiet person reveals almost nothing. That creates asymmetry. They know more about others than others know about them. And asymmetry quietly shifts power. This is why silence makes people uncomfortable. Not because it's awkward, but because it removes their sense of control. But here's the part most people miss. Not all quiet people are powerful, but the ones you should pay attention to are. Because some silence isn't preference. It's strategy. Many quiet individuals learned awareness early in life, often in environments where speaking too much wasn't safe. Emotions were unpredictable. Observation mattered more than expression. So they learned to notice subtle cues, a pause, a micro-expression, a shift in energy. While others focus on what's being said, they focus on why it's being said. That's not shyness. That's adaptation. Why quiet people are often underestimated. Society confuses visibility with value. If someone isn't asserting themselves, they're assumed to lack confidence. If they're not speaking, they're assumed to have nothing to say. But psychology tells us the opposite can be true. Quiet people often speak only when it matters. And when they do, it lands harder. Because they haven't diluted their presence with noise. The real meaning of fear. You shouldn't fear the quietest person because they're dangerous. You should fear underestimating them, because they're not reacting to the environment. They're tracking it. They're not trying to impress. They're not competing for dominance. They're not revealing their strategy. And people who don't reveal their strategy are rarely powerless. Silence in psychology isn't emptiness. It's control. If you've ever been underestimated for being quiet, this channel is for you. And if this video changed how you see silence in others or in yourself, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who underestimates quiet people. Because sometimes, the most powerful person in the room is the one who never says a word.